So what's going on, guys? My name is Mr. Dalek JD, and in this video I'm going to be showing you all of the new perks in Black Ops 4 Zombies. We're going to be breaking them down, showing you gameplay of each, and giving you my opinion on if I think it is a good perk or not. Now, there's a lot of new perks in Black Ops 4 that we've never seen before, and some plays on the old ones. So I'd love to know in the comment section, which is your favourite set of 4 perks to run, and which ones do you think are probably the useless perks. But we're jumping in with one of the new ones, which is Dying Wish. As I'm sure you're all aware, perk machines no longer a thing. It's now perk alters and just standard perk machines, which now can have whatever perk you want assigned to them. Now, Dying Wish costs 4,000 points, so quite an expensive perk, and this is active as soon as you buy it. And what happens with this perk is, instead of entering last stand when you're about to go down, the player goes berserk for 9 seconds, and whilst you're in this berserk mode, you're invulnerable to any damage from zombies, and your melee damage is greatly increased. So it's a fantastic perk in case you get stuck in a corner or you know you're about to die. You simply have this perk enabled, and bam, you're gonna have this effect. And now what happens is, once this perk has been used and the berserk mode is ended, you will be left with 1 health. And as you can see in the gameplay, that's not the case because I'm using mutations, but normally you have simply 1 health left once you've gotten out of the berserk mode. So then you've got to run to basically get your health back, and the cooldown increases with every use. So as you can see, the perk, I can't use it again. I have to wait a while for the cooldown to be over so I can use the ability again. The next perk we're going to be showcasing is Stone Cold Stronghold, which costs 2,500 points and is the perk which is the most reminiscent to the old Juggernaut perk. Now what happens with this is, standing your ground creates a defensive circle which boosts damage and armor over time while inside. So as you notice, when this circle appears by standing still for a few seconds, I do have armor, and the longer I'm in this little circle for, the more armor I have, which is really cool. And what is pretty awesome as well is there are times where when you leave the circle, you'll still have this armor on you. So it's the only way to officially have more than 150 health. I mean, you don't have it physically, but you do get given a shield, which the longer you're in there for, the longer the shield's ability will be there for. But what is also pretty cool is that your weapon damage will do more damage when you're inside the circle over time as well. So I can feel for long games where you're going to high rounds where your weapons might not necessarily be strong enough, this perk is vital. And of course, it gives you armor. There's nothing else in the game that gives you armor besides using your special weapon. I definitely think this is one of the best perks to select in Black Ops 4 Zombies, and I know I'm going to have this in my perk slots, but I'd like to know your thoughts down below. The next new perk is PhD Slider, and I think this is the one that everyone wants to see and see how exactly it works compared to the original PhD Flopper. So it isn't as good as PhD Flopper, but it's still great nonetheless, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So when you first pick this perk up, it's fully charged. As you can see, it's blinking there, and if you slide into zombies, it's going to trigger an explosion, which is going to kill a lot of zombies, just like the PhD Flopper perk did. We don't have the flop in this game, we have the slide. So if you slide into a zombie, so it can't be near them, it has to be like sliding into them, the explosion will go off. But once the explosion has gone off, you need to fully charge it again by just continuously sliding around the map until you have the icon flashing again. But you also gain resistance to explosive damage with this perk. Not necessarily complete resistance like with PhD Flopper, but you still get a little bit of resistance to explosive damage. So for things like the Helion, which is the RPG, or grenades, you do take less damage when you have this perk. But when you slide into the zombies, boy, does it feel good. And in this game, you're naturally going to be sliding around anyway, as slide jumping is probably the quicker way to traverse than just straight running. But what do you guys think? Do you like how they've changed PhD Flopper, or do you wish they just put the original in and made it fully overpowered? The next part we're going to be looking at is Mule Kick, which is no surprise. It costs 5,000 points in this game, which is 1,000 more than it did originally, but it's as simple as you just buy a third weapon. But what is nice as well is when you have this weapon out, there is a physical icon above the name of the gun to show you that it is your Mule Kick weapon. This is something which we've not had in Black Ops Zombies before. We've had it in other zombie games, and I guess Treyarch saw this and was like, you know what, that's a really good way of telling people that it is their Mule Kick weapon. And yeah, I mean, if you go down and you lose the Mule Kick weapon, then you're obviously going to lose your third gun. But yeah, pretty standard stuff there, but still a really cool perk nonetheless. Next perk we're going to be looking at is Winter's Wail, which is a remix of Widow's Wine. This costs you 3,000 points rather than 4,000 in Black Ops 3 Zombies, and it has had a severe nerf. So it works the same way as Widow's Wine did. If you get hit, then the zombies, instead of being encased in web, they are frozen instead because it's now Winter's Wail. But as you can see on the heads up display, we now don't have the perk active. The perk is blanked out, and you're going to need to recharge it. So yeah, the way the perk works is when you're hit by a melee attack, you'll generate a frost explosion that will freeze or slow enemies nearby, and you can only store 2 charges of this. So once they've been used, or you've been hit by a zombie twice, you'll see that the perk is now just sort of like blanked out a little bit, and you'll see a small little bar on the bottom which will charge up via the time that you're in the game for, as well as just killing zombies. So it is a useful perk, but the frequency in which you will actually get to activate this effect is so slim that I almost wouldn't really recommend it. There are a few other ones out there that probably will get the job done better, and this is Widow's Wine just nerfed to high heaven. You don't have grenades anymore as the sort of Winter's Wail replacement. You don't have those grenades, it's just simply the effect of the perk. Next on the list of new perks is a new one called Bandolier Bandit. Now watch how much ammo my shotgun has before I buy Bandolier Bandit, and straight away you can see that I have a increase in my ammo stock. Now, it's not crazy when it comes to weapons like this, but for LMGs, this could probably get you a whole nother 100 bullets in a clip, which is nice in that stock magazine. And I'm not too sure really if I feel this is a useful perk or not. I mean, if you're going to use a weapon that has tons and tons of ammo, or perhaps it has very little and you want to extend the life of the weapon by having more ammo, then this is definitely something for you. And I'm pretty sure in the higher rounds with a wonder weapon, you're going to want to have more ammo than what you normally have, so this would be a viable option for you. The next perk we're going to be looking at is Deadshot Dealer, which is a variation of Deadshot Daiquiri. And with this perk, aiming down sight snaps to the enemy's head. You also get reduced hip fire spread and recoil when firing, and it also removes scope sway, so that's pretty cool. And this thing is really aggressive on aiming onto the enemy's heads. Like, it just snaps onto it. You'll see in the footage that I'll be aiming at the zombies like torsos and their like chests, and bam, it just snaps straight to their heads without any hesitation. If you're good at zombies and you can have pretty decent aim, then I don't think this will be very necessary, but it is a fun perk to have nonetheless in case you aren't so accurate. But as you can see, yeah, it just snaps straight onto their heads without any failure. So if you're really bad at headshots and there's a headshot challenge, then you might want to pick this up, but I doubt you'd be that bad, surely. The next one we're going to be looking at is Victorious Tortoise, which is a brand new perk in Black Ops 4 Zombies, and it's a really interesting one. And if you have built the shield in any Zombies maps and you have this, the shield will block damage from all directions when the shield is held out. As you can see, I've got zombies in front of me, I'm then turning around, I'm looking in all directions, and it's like as if I have a shield covering my entire body. And also, when the shield breaks, it will trigger a defensive explosion. Honestly, I think this is a really, really good perk to use. When it gets to the later rounds, you might run out of ammo and you forget that you have the shield, but the shield actually has a gun in it. And in the later rounds, if you bring this out or you buy the shield or whatever, you might get trapped in a corner, but this will protect you from all sides, so you can just go crazy. And if the shield does break, then you do have that defensive explosion. It's quite an expensive perk, but it is very useful for having just the ultimate defense mode inside of zombies. The next perk we're going to be looking at is Timeslip, which is a very cheap one, and the perk ability, it gives you a cooldown increase rate on your equipment, and the mystery box and pack-a-punch weapons appear faster, and it greatly reduces trap and fast travel cooldowns. So for stuff like the box you're seeing me hit here, the weapons appear almost instantly, which is really good if you're spinning the box in a really tight situation on a high round. You've got tons of zombies spawning around and you just want to get that gun really quickly. The same with Pack-a-Punch. It's very, very quick. Now, I don't feel like this is a 100% necessary thing for you to use in your games. It is very nice and it is very convenient, and it's only 1,500 points as well, but I'd like to know in the comments if you feel like this is worth it or not. Now the next perk we're going to be looking at is Quick Revive, but don't be fooled, Quick Revive is a lot different to how it originally was in zombies that we know so far. So on solo, Quick Revive does not revive you anymore, you have your own self-revives, about 2 or 3 per game, but Quick Revive gives you a shorter delay between regenerating health and increase the regeneration rate. So in terms of just using this anyway, it is going to be very, very good because there is a shorter delay between when you get hit and waiting for your health to start regenerating back. This is very, very good. And whilst we don't have Juggernog anymore, this is probably the best viable thing, which sort of matches a little bit on what that could do, and it increases your regeneration rate as well. So a very viable perk to use, and of course in co-op it will revive players faster. The next perk here we have is Depth Perception for 2,000 points, and this will allow you to see nearby enemies through walls, and you'll also receive screen indicators when enemies approach the player from off screen. So as you can see right here, I'm looking at the zombies coming from a different level to me from upstairs, and I can see them through the walls. You can even see when zombies are like climbing into windows to spawn in. So say you're stuck on the end of a round, the zombie's just not spawning in. With this, you can actually find out where it is. Now, that's probably not going to happen too often, but there is a chance it could happen. And also, if you're just someone that isn't very aware of how quickly the zombies can run up to you, you need that help where it indicates exactly what direction the zombies are coming from and how close they are to you. This is a really, really good perk for those that are new to the game, and I really, really like this. It even works for the bosses as well. Next perk we're going to be looking at is Stamin-up, which is pretty simple, which increases your movement and sprint speed, and your stamina regenerates faster. This, I feel, is a necessity in this game because you run quite slow as it is. So with Stamin-up, it just makes life a lot better, especially if you've got like an LMG or something like that. It just makes life a lot easier. And the final new perk we have is Secret Source, which gives you a random perk not assigned to another slot. So if you can't think of a perk that you want to put on and you just want Treyarch to do you dirty and give you one at complete random, then this one is the one for you. This also gives you the chance to get one of the more expensive perks for a cheaper price, which is always a good deal in my book. But that is a look at all of the new perks inside of Black Ops 4 Zombies. If you enjoyed this video and you found it informative, leave a like rating and make sure to check the playlist link down below because we have a ton of videos here on the channel and more coming up all the time. So if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.